Erwin Rommel, born in 1891 in Württemberg, Germany, rose to prominence as a military commander during World War II, known as the Desert Fox for his brilliant tactics in the North African campaigns, 1941 to 1943. Rommel earned admiration from both allies and enemies, with British Prime Minister Winston Churchill calling him a great general. His military success, characterized by speed, deception, and relentless momentum, made him a symbol of German military excellence. However, Rommel was never a member of the Nazi Party, focusing on duty and soldiering rather than ideology, though he initially benefited from Hitler's favor, receiving rapid promotions and decorations. Rommel's relationship with Hitler was initially close, with Hitler regarding him as a model for fusing Germany's new and old orders. By 1939, Rommel attended Hitler's daily war briefings during the invasion of Poland and was promoted to Generalmajor ahead of his seniors, earning the nickname the Führer's Marshal by 1942. However, cracks began to appear as early as late 1942, with Rommel recognizing Hitler's disastrous leadership and the criminal nature of the regime, particularly after witnessing atrocities like mass executions and concentration camps. The turning point and disillusionment by 1943. As the war turned against Germany, Rommel was transferred to France to oversee the Atlantic Wall defenses. He warned that Germany could not win a prolonged war and advocated for flexible defense strategies, which Hitler rejected, insisting on defending every inch of territory. This disagreement marked a significant shift, with Rommel beginning to consider the unthinkable, resistance against Hitler. His disillusionment grew as he learned of Nazi atrocities, contrasting with the honorable image of the Reich he had once served. Involvement in the July 20th plot by 1944, a resistance movement within the German military, led by figures like Klaus von Stauffenberg, sought to eliminate Hitler to save Germany. Rommel's popularity made him a potential leader, but he believed Hitler should be arrested and put on trial rather than killed. Reflecting his moral indecision, he did not report the conspirators, a silence that later implicated him. On July 20th, 1944, a bomb exploded at Hitler's Wolf's Lair, but the coup failed, and the Gestapo began hunting those linked to the plot. Rommel's name surfaced through confessions, such as those by Karl Heinrich von Stülpnagel and Caesar von Hofecker, and a memo from Martin Bormann dated September 28, 1944, stated Rommel was in the picture and agreed to be at the new government's disposal after a successful plot. General Heinrich Eberbach claimed Rommel told him Hitler and his entourage needed to be killed for Germany to end the war satisfactorily. Historian Peter Lieb concludes Rommel was more than a sympathizer, paying with his life, and deserves a place in the military resistance against Hitler. However, the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum notes Rommel's participation was ambiguous, suggesting he was sympathetic but not involved in detailed planning, opposing the killing of Hitler. This controversy highlights the debate over Rommel's exact role, with some viewing him as a peripheral figure and others as a key sympathizer. The betrayal and forced suicide. The betrayal came when an unknown German informant, possibly during interrogations after the failed plot, revealed Rommel's connections to the conspirators. Nazi officials, including Heinrich Himmler, Wilhelm Keitel, and Alfred Jodl, resented Rommel's rise and feared he might become commander-in-chief, adding to the pressure for his removal. On October 14, 1944, Hitler, valuing Rommel's public image, chose not to subject him to a public trial, which would have branded him a traitor and endangered his family. Instead, Generals Wilhelm Burgdorf and Ernst Maesel visited Rommel at his home in Herrlingen, presenting Hitler's ultimatum: commit suicide by taking a cyanide capsule or face a people's court trial, which would lead to execution and retaliation against his family, including his wife Lucy and son Manfred. Rommel, wounded days earlier in a car strafing by an Allied plane and recovering at home, asked for a moment with his family. He told them, within a quarter of an hour, "I'll be dead. It's the only way to protect you." He then put on his field marshal's coat, stepped into the car with the generals, and took the cyanide capsule, dying by the time they reached the nearby hospital. The Nazi regime announced his death as resulting from war injuries, holding a grand funeral with wreaths and speeches, keeping the truth secret until after the war, when Manfred Rommel revealed the circumstances, Hitler's role, and the aftermath. Hitler's decision to offer suicide rather than a public trial was strategic, preserving Rommel's reputation to maintain morale and avoid further dissent. the propaganda ministry announced his death as due to injuries from the July 17th, 1944 car accident, and Hitler ordered a state funeral and a day of mourning. This act of betrayal by Hitler, the man Rommel had once served with loyalty, marked the chilling end of a soldier caught in the jaws of a collapsing empire. Legacy and controversy. Rommel's death preserved his legend, with the Rommel myth portraying him as an apolitical, brilliant commander and a victim of Nazi Germany. However, historians debate his legacy. Some see him as a noble warrior caught in the wrong war, for the wrong side, while others argue he remained loyal too long and woke up too late. His indecision, neither reporting the plotters nor fully joining them, cost him his life. The evidence leans toward Rommel being betrayed by Hitler, forced to commit suicide to avoid a public trial, with his family protected as part of the deal. This tragic end reflects the complex dynamics of loyalty, betrayal, and resistance within the Nazi regime.